Well, welcome everybody. I'm Steve Mackenzie, the Chief Innovation Officer here at Momentus Technologies with our latest Innovators Series interview. And today I'm going around the world and we'll be interviewing my good friend over in New Zealand, Trevor Dimond, who's the Executive Chairman of Ecoglo. Trevor and I first met a long time ago in a bar in Prague, I think it was. Yeah, so I won't steal your thunder. So if you'd just like to give us a bit of an intro and a bit of background on yourself and
Yeah.
Ecoglo.
Yeah. Kia ora, Steve. Kei te pēhea koe.
Ko te pai.
We're based in New Zealand. Ecoglo has been manufacturing photoluminescent products for over 25 years now. When we started, there weren't even any definitions of the terminology, let alone the sales and specification channels. And even the word photoluminescent wasn't around and used as regularly as it is now. If we'd known, we would have got a word that was easier to spell and easier to say. So I'll be calling it PL. Some in the US call it PLM, but I call it PL. So yeah, we're a manufacturer, a net zero carbon manufacturer of PL and anti-slip products. We're based in Christchurch, New Zealand, Buffalo, New York, and Manila. We started up in 1997, and as I said, the photoluminescent PL path marking wasn't developed at all. And we came up with this manufacturing process called high temperature curing, which I'll come back to a bit later. But at the time, there were facilities being built for the Sydney 2000 Olympics, and there was a product or a system specified into the Sydney Superdome, which the product hadn't been made yet. So we had this high temperature curing system. We made the product, put it into the Superdome. We did 3 more venues for the Olympics, and then we were off and running. So we'd done the Olympics, so we go, where are there more stadiums and arenas? So that was the USA. So our focus changed to the US. And so I think our first IAVM, or at the time IAAM conference was in Toronto in something like 1999. And then the first one I attended, I think, was in Nashville in 2000. Anyway, we shifted our focus to the US. We did in the early days some of the venues we did. The Bayfront Arena, I think, in Corpus Christi, Maybe Center in Tulsa, American Airlines in Dallas. But interestingly, one of the very first ones was the Holmes Convocation Center in Boone, North Carolina, Appalachian State University. And I was told, I wasn't in New Orleans last week, but I was told a representative came up and introduced themselves from the Holmes Convocation Center and was just going on about what a great system, and it's still going strong. So that was pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah, more recently we've done more Olympic venues. We've done venues for the Qatar FIFA World Cup, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, around the world, Coca-Cola Arena in Dubai, Alliance Stadium, Sydney, and most recently Kai-Tak Stadium
In Hong
Hong
Kong.
Kong. Yeah, yeah.
Wow, yeah, that's great. I'm pleased to see, a New Zealand company doing so well globally, of course. So I might follow your lead and use PL because I'm struggling with photoluminescent as well. Um,
Feel free.
so,
Feel free.
so how is PL lighting different from regular power battery operated lighting that venues would have traditionally used? And why is it a better option?
Okay, so in a ordinary backup device, the energy is stored in a battery, and then that energy is harvested from there and creates a light, either LED or fluorescent or whatever. Photoluminescent, or PLM, that absorbs, the actual material absorbs ambient light, either daylight or artificial light. and then actually re-emits it from the product itself. So the good thing about that is that in a venue, you can install the material or the product on the edge of a step, for instance, and the actual light is coming from the step. Now, what that does is overcomes, well, it does the job better than an overhead light,
Right.
because with lots of people moving around, those people create their own shadows. So the light from overhead can't get to every place on that stairway. So in a practical sense, it's it's um, it's much more reliable. And now, we're using it to mitigate other issues within venues like variable riser heights and that type of thing that are just part of getting your sight lines and everything right for a customer experience.
Wow. Okay, that sounds
Mm.
pretty fascinating. So, and you talked about obviously there's the lighting strips on the stairs for helping people find their ways in the darkness of an event, but also like the exit signs and everything else, right? That's
Mhm.
the sort of things you're doing here.
Yeah.
Um, so you've been in the industry quite a while now, as you just mentioned in your intro there.
Mm.
What changes have you seen in the way that venues now think about safe movement systems like yours, as opposed
Mhm.
to even 10 years ago?
Um, Well, I suppose where it's come from, it used to be just a single product on the edge of a step, but it has
Right.
developed into an overall system now. And that system has really come from a better understanding of human behavior. I don't know whether you've been right up the back in a very large stadium, and it's quite steep up there. And when you stand
Yeah.
up, you
Yeah.
feel a bit wobbly.
A bit of
Well,
bit of vertigo. Yeah.
yeah, so about 40% of the population actually feel that sort of
Oh
effect.
wow.
So so what we've been working on is developing a system which helps overcome all those things. Um, I suppose another thing that's changed a lot is the flexibility that venues require. They're very much now focused on having a breadth of events. So low light events are just part of the
Yeah.
game, even for an old, a big stadium. That wasn't
Yep.
really the case back then. And of course, what's definitely changed since we started in 1997 is the whole focus on sustainability. Like,
Yeah.
believe it or not, when we came up with the name Ecoglo, eco wasn't really a thing. It was
Yeah.
just
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
But really, what got us down that road was that the Sydney Olympics, it was really the first Olympics where they started focusing on sustainable solutions. So that, it's really um, how we got started. We in performing arts, they talk about the triple threat. You can sing, you can dance, you can act. Well, now we have to have a triple threat that we improve safety, lower costs, and improve a venue's sustainability profile. So I suppose it's just become more integrated over that
Yeah.
period of time rather than just sell one product.
No, that makes a ton of sense, and um, so you're a trailblazer in the eco world. So I love that.
Yeah.
Um,
Sometimes we've been too far ahead.
yeah, right, right. So again, we've talked a bit earlier. You guys work globally. What are the differences that you see in the regionality of the way venues approach this topic? Is there differences?
There are the nuts and bolts differences of building codes and standards. You see just differences in different regions. Like, for instance, what constitutes the absolute maximum of rows you should have in a
Mm,
straight run of steps. Some places it might be 30 rows, some places it might be 40 rows, or you have a regulator that has made up their mind that it's a different number. So all these things that we are um, trying to make it an international venue, you're having to deal with local codes.
mm,
And also things like what constitutes a step edge product? How wide should it be? All those sort of things. In a market sense, it's probably the uptake of safe movement systems. Like they have really been adopted in Australia and New Zealand. So pretty well every stadium built in the last 5 years in Australia and New Zealand has put in a safe movement system rather than just a product.
Okay.
As has Kai Tak in Hong Kong. So I suppose the uptake's been earlier in Australasia, but now we're seeing a lot of interest and from the US in new facilities. They're the they're the main
Yeah.
differences that we see.
Okay. Makes sense. And
Mm.
look, just a final question for you. Um, what's Ecoglo focused on looking forward, and are there any new innovations that you're conceptualizing at the moment?
Well, yeah, one of them is that safe movement system. Like,
Mm,
like we've worked for 25 years with a guy called Dr. Hamish McClellan, and he's an expert in human behaviour. He actually designed the systems for stadiums in Australia that we've used, and we've been working with him to develop a standardised approach or a standardised design that we can publish like a design specification you would get for a
right.
building. This is for a safe movement system. Then we've developed a whole range of products that we put into our what we call our safe movement toolkit. We have just launched that in the last 3 weeks, so it's just happening. We're going to get out there and get it in front of architects and facility managers and engineers and just try and improve the understanding of how that sort of system works. The other big development that we've had is you mentioned exit signs before. Well,
Mm,
typically they're backed up with battery or centralized generator or centralized battery systems. We've developed a hybrid LED exit sign. So it still has LEDs. It's fixed to the electrical system, and that electrical system charges a PL energy caching panel. So instead of the energy being stored in a battery, it's stored in the energy caching panel. What this allows is we've really simplified the electronics. No batteries, no battery charging system, and just a lot less wires and bits and pieces in the sign. So it lasts for a very long time, a very long time. Like we've had 75 units installed in a test bed for over 6 years, and there hasn't been one failure yet. So that's been in New Zealand and Australia for the last couple of years. Um, and we are sort of planning on launching in the US sometime in the next 12 months or so. But that's quite a step change in terms of, again, cost, also sustainability. The embodied carbon in a product that lasts 15 or 20 years is just far, far different. So that's really where we're focusing.
wow. I hope one day you can transfer that type of technology to my cell phone and make my battery last that long too.
Yeah.
that would be that would be
We'll work
great. Yeah. All right.
yeah.
As always, Trevor, it's a pleasure to talk with you. I love the innovation that's happening from you and the team there at Ecoglo. A great pleasure to have you as part of this thought leadership series, the Innovators series. So thanks, and we look forward to seeing you somewhere around the world in the future.